What's going on, y'all? Worth Fabian. We are actually back with a video, man. We're doing a reaction to large crowds rally against Trump at No Kings protests across the U.S. So millions of people are expected to attend more than 2,500 No Kings protests across the U.S. and internationally. Organizers say President Donald Trump is a leading and increasingly militarized and authoritarian regime in the U.S. So honestly, this is my first note or take on this. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and kind of give some detail if you have further context, right? But just a quick search emphasizes the No Kings protest, known as internationally as a No Dictators or No Tyrants protest, is a series of demonstrations, largely in the U.S., against what the organizers describe as authoritarian policies of Trump and corruption in his administration. So the protest took place June 14, 2025, on the same day as the U.S. Army 250th anniversary parade and Trump's 79th birthday. Further No Kings protests took place on October 18, 2025. So that's the more recent protest that they're alluding to. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know y'all's thoughts in the comment section below. Is that LGBTQ colors?
Our nation's democracy is at stake, and we are here to say we are a nation that will not be bowing down to any authoritarian rule. We are not going to be ruled by a king.
Being here in Germany, especially considering the history that's here, we have a unique perspective to look and say, that's not okay. Normalizing the little things, letting it go down the slope is very much not okay. And we feel like this is one thing that we can do. We can't show up there, but we can show up here.
Man, the circus world known as the United States of America, and it's obviously extended to other countries to where representatives of the U.S. are speaking freely and openly on this, right? But let's kind of get some further context. So 3 takeaways from Saturday's No Kings nationwide protest. The number one takeaway is the U.S. is in protest to protect America. So protesters showed up to oppose a wide range of issues, including administration's immigration tactics and push for federal and military intervention in the Democratic-led states as a way to tackle crime. Number 2 is the Trump administration and Republican lawmakers weighed in. So the House Speaker Mike Johnson slammed Saturday's protest as a hate America rally, and other Republicans have derided that the event is anti-American. Responding to NPR's questions about the protests, White House spokesman Abigail Jackson said, "Who cares? Trump wasn't at the White House during the protest, but on a visit to his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida." So the third point is peaceful protesting with song and dance. Despite the many criticisms that anti-Trump protesters came to preach, there were displays of optimism, hope, and whimsy in several cities. So inspired by protesters in Portland, Oregon, people in LA, Hartford, Connecticut, elsewhere brought up to march in inflatable animal costumes. Song and dance broke out in Salt Lake City. So that's how you know this is more of like an LGBTQ agenda, man. Like, come on. I don't know. I'm all for freedom of speech and people advocating for what they believe in, right? But I think like the general consensus with this is today in modern day society, people have a problem with authority, period. You know, it's odd to me that when there's some type of reform or people putting their foot down in today's day and age, that's seen as dictatorship. Dang. Or being authoritarian, you know what I'm saying? It's like, in my eyes, there has to be some type of structure, some standard in the world. If everything in life was willy-nilly, then it would be a circus, even though it already is a circus. And I think that there has to be some reform. When things get skewed, you have to kind of reel things in a little bit. And Trump doing what he's doing seems to stir people up in a certain way that just baffles me, right? Like, if we had a Democrat in office, there's certain laws and things that need to be put in place by any president. But in that day and age or in that type of dynamic, it wouldn't be seen as a dictatorship or some type of king mentality. So I'm kind of confused at times to where people, as soon as you put structure and order, they're oppressed. And this kind of goes to the fact that I've countlessly mentioned that we live in a very soft society. Today's day and age, everybody's overly sensitive. One little chirp or one tidbit from a person and they're immediately offended, or this is way too harsh. You have to have some type of discipline in life, right? And not to say that it equates fully, but like there has to be some type of, whether it's reprimand, control, order to things. Control, even me using that word will offend some people, right? There has to be a certain order to things. If you let people run around willy-nilly and worry about people's feelings more so than what's real in the actuality of the world, then we'll be in further chaos. Now, a lot of people would argue with me, but that's the point, that we've gone so far left to where like we need to overcorrect. So comment down below, let me know y'all's thoughts on this, man. It's kind of ridiculous that I just want to see the next regime. You know, I want to see the next presidential candidate. And honestly, just from an experimentative perspective, I would love for it to be a Democrat. Now, that would probably tank a lot of things, and not in the sense that somebody is a Democrat in office, but I think there will never be a fluid change in the U.S., especially when there's such opposing beliefs between parties, and then you can naturally only have an 8-year span of a term, right, as a president, and that's the max. So there are certain things that'll change and go into effect, and then it's like as soon as the other party gets into play or gets into office, those things will be relinquished, and it's like trying to undo what's been done. So in actuality, what progress is really being made? 8 years is a while. You can make some leaps and bounds in that time frame, but like alternatively, man, it's a back and forth. It's a tug of war, and I don't know. I think that more so if it was like a dictatorship, right? If it was, not to say I advocate for that, but like, right, look at the monarchy in like England and stuff like that. If you had a king and they reigned for a certain amount of time, they're able to put their practices into play over time to where it kind of conditions or sets a standard. Not to say I advocate for that, right? Because at the end of the day, one person's mindset shouldn't govern everything else. But that's why we have Congress. That's why we have other governmental powers in play, right? Because the president can't override every single thing. So it's just ridiculous to me because it'll be continuous. And that's kind of why like these stories and topics are cool to cover it just to get some insight into what's going on. But I think politics in general is pointless in my eyes. It's a debate / argument that goes back and forth for extended periods of time, and there's no resolution because people will naturally have different beliefs. So comment down below, man. Let me know your thoughts on this. Peace, love, prosperity. God bless. We'll see y'all in the next video.